Okay, so looking at this one, we're going to start by creating these center circles here, and then I'm only going to start and create the top half of this. As you can see that it is mirrored down. And for all of the radii that's going around here, I'm going to save that for last and see if I can use a step that I can speed those up with instead of putting a fillet on each and every one of these corners that is round at. So let's start with a circle center diameter. Let's click here. It has a diameter of 2. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this circle a distance of 0.3. So offset 0.3, enter, and create this one. Make sure you offset that to the outside. Next I'm going to create a circle that has a diameter of 0.6. So circle center diameter. I want you to go and touch the center of here. And remember, kind of come out and try to avoid any other O-snaps. Get your tracking. And then whatever the radius is on that pattern is going to be the distance that I'm going to use, which in this case is 3.4. The diameter of that circle, 0.6. Next, I'm going to create a circle that has a radius of 0.6 around it. So circle, center radius, 0.6. Let's go ahead and draw a line. And I'm going to use this inside quadrant to that inside quadrant. I'm going to offset this line in both directions, half of my 0.30. So let's go offset 0.15, enter. Select this center line. I want to select one on the top, then one on the bottom, then escape. Let's go ahead and delete this line here in the middle. And I'm going to save the trim work for almost one of the next things next to the last thing I do before I mirror it. So let's use the array, and I'm going to use polar array. I'll select these 4 objects. I'll use this center. And now I have to tell it how many shapes I want, or how many of these objects I want. 4. And then I'm going to tell it the distance in between each of them is 36. Now if you move your cursor back down to the screen, you're going to see where your circles are lining up. I want these to go at the top half because I like kind of working from this top part going down. So I'm going to select the direction button. And then when I move my cursor down, it should update. And you also want to make sure that your associativity on this one is turned off. Close the array. Let's go ahead and delete these 2 lines. Next, I'm going to locate my circles that's in the back here. So I'm going to choose to go to copy, select these 2 circles. The base point will be at the center, and now I need to give it the location of it. So I will shift and right click and choose from. I'm going to select, so actually click on the center. Now you have to type in the @ symbol, 5, 1.4. So make sure you type in the @ symbol, 5, 1.4, enter, and then escape. Let's go ahead and create a tangent line from this circle to that one. So I'll choose line, shift right click, tangent, select somewhere along this circle, shift right click, tangent, select somewhere along this circle, then escape. I'm going to draw a line from this quadrant going straight down, so I'll turn the ortho on, 1.4. Let's offset these lines in a distance of 0.3. So offset 0.3, enter. I'm just going to offset these two lines inward. I think I'm going to stretch these lines down a little bit more because I want to do some kind of mirror and I want to be able to include this line. So let's choose stretch. And remember, when you use the stretch command, you have to use a crossing window. So I'll click here to the right of it. Then I'll come down underneath here. So everything, I need to make sure I enclose those endpoints of those two lines. So once I have that done, I'll left click here, enter, pick a base point, and then I'll come down a distance of 1.25. Let's go ahead and create a circle from the inside of this one. So from this center, I want to create a circle that has a radius of 3.25. Circle, center radius, at this center, 3.25. Okay, so let's start cleaning this up. Let's go ahead and trim. And I'm going to start with the inside of this circle, so I'm going to trim here and then there. And I'll do the same with my next circle here, so I'll trim here and there. With this circle, I don't have that option. Well, I do. I'm still going to do the insides here, all around it. Then I'll come to this circle here. So I'll start here, and I'll work these 2 points on the outside. So once I have it created like so, I'm going to zoom in a little bit and I'll start trimming away these parts. And I'm just going to keep continuing to trim until I get the necessary shape that I'm trying to create. Okay, so once I have this shape created, let's keep going and work on our back half a little bit. So I'm going to trim this line here, and then this part of this arc. Trim these lines on the inside, and then these arcs. Now I want to get these two lines all the way over to here. So I'll hold down the shift button and keep it held down, and then I'm going to keep clicking on this line at the end points. So you can see that I'm kind of walking it back to where I want it to go. I'll do the same with this one, so I'll click here. I'm just walking this line back. And also make sure that you keep that shift button held down throughout the whole process. Release the shift key. And then I'm going to trim in between these again like I did before. So I'm going to take away these portions. And I'm going to walk these lines up to where I want them. Then I'm going to trim this distance right in between here and also in between here. Escape. And let's go ahead and delete this arc part on the outside here. In order to finish this half up, I have to put a tangent line going across here. So let's create a line. Shift right click and I can choose tangent. Click on the tangent part of this circle and then shift and right click and choose tangent again. And select on this part of this circle. I can choose to array these, but in this case I think it might be easier just to use grips. So go ahead and select this line, select a grip point on it. I want you to hit the space bar key until you see the words rotate, and it's going to usually take 2 times. I want you to choose the word base point. I want you to click this center. And then I want you to select the word copy. Now remember, we're going to go in a clockwise rotation, so I'll type in -36, enter, and then -72, enter, and then escape. So hit the escape button twice. Now let's go ahead and finish our trimming. So trim. And now you're going to really start to see this take shape. So as you trim these lines away, you can see that you do have the shape that you wanted to create. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete this line here. And then I'm going to mirror this going across, and then I'm going to let Overkill clean it up for me. So let's go ahead and mirror. Select all of your objects, enter. I want you to select this center, and then go to that center, and then hit enter. I'm going to erase one of these lines, so I'm going to select that arc and just erase it. Let's see how much work will Overkill do for us. So it's underneath Modify, and it looks like the broom. Once you select it, go ahead and select your objects, enter, and then select OK. You can see that Overkill cleaned up some of the stuff for us. And we still have to do a little bit more work of trimming in between this one, because it looked like it selected the wrong ones or on both sides of this. So let's go ahead and trim and clean up this in the front and all up our gaps in between here. Okay, so our last step that we're going to do, you can tell that I have a bunch of lines going around that I would have to go and fillet each and every one of these corners. One thing that I like to do is I'll use the join command, and I'm just going to highlight everything I can, enter, and now you see 60 objects was converted into 7 polylines and 10 of them was discarded. One check to make sure that all of them are polylines, so you see as I'm touching each one of these, and I'm not clicking on them, you're seeing the whole thing's highlighted. That tells me that those are joined or closed polylines. Now one huge benefit of having these that way is that when I use the fillet command, I'll set my radius, which is 0.2, enter. I have multiple, and then I'll choose the polyline option. So I'll select polyline, select this polyline, then I have to come back and go to polyline, then I'll select this object, back to polyline, this object. Look like I selected radius again. I'm just going to type in 0.2 again. Select multiple and then polyline. Then I'll keep working this all the way around. So polyline, this one, and our last one is a polyline here. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed watching me create this one, and hopefully you were able to keep up and follow along. And thank you for watching.